right. We are here on a live Done with Adulting podcast episode.
Another
Jared,
week. Another week.
This is insane.
Yeah. Our first quote unquote live experience. So
live virtual experience.
Yeah. Thank you for the folks who are on the Zoom watching us. Maybe first time listeners. We appreciate you.
Yeah, so we should just reintroduce ourselves. We don't usually introduce ourselves in the beginning of episodes, but I feel like we definitely have first timers. So for anybody who I don't know or haven't met, my name is Asia. I'm from Massachusetts, and this is my podcast with Jared. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Jared. I'm originally from Jersey, but now I live in Boston, very close to Asia. We've met. I mean, we've known each other for like 10 plus years now.
Sure, we'll go with that. 2010. Yeah.
We're
obviously best friends. Yeah. You're supposed to say we're best friends.
Yeah. We're BFFs.
Thank you.
Since the college days.
Since the college days. Shout out to Stonehill College. Where the heck is Laura Brooks and other Stonehill people? If you're in here, show us in the chat. But no, we are so excited, not only for being live with you guys, which we never get to do, but we're definitely even especially excited about this episode and the guest that we have today. Yeah, I know. So Jared, do you want to just tell them how we even got to this point? Do you feel like I messaged you randomly, right? Like what explain it to me.
Yeah. So basically September, we were doing a guest marathon, which means we just bring in a bunch of guests, talk about different topics. I actually had somebody lined up, but Asia was like, nah, we got something a lot bigger planned. So she reached out to me. She let me know that she spoke to Denise and that we would be talking about multi-level marketing. And I was like, well, that's better than what we would have talked about with my guy. So let's go with it.
We're going to get your guy on too. No, but we wanted to talk about this because I feel like, especially as, we speak to millennials a lot on this podcast because we are millennials, but I feel like, especially with our generation, so many people on Instagram that we know that, you follow are getting into network marketing. And I feel like
you're living it yourself.
I'm living it myself. And I feel like the biggest thing you hear about network marketing, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, as someone who's not in network marketing is no one can ever, only 1% of the people who do it make it to the top, or whatever that fucking statistic is.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold you. I have a lot of questions. I don't want it to come off like I'm attacking, but this is just what I don't know. I don't know anything about it really. I just see people on social media doing it. So I'm excited for the conversation.
All right. Lit. Oh yes, I should have said that. We do curse on this podcast. I know some people might have kids in the background, so I just want to say usually we're in your headphones. I don't know if we're coming out of speakers or what the situation is.
Yeah. We keep it real and raw here, so.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna officially stop letting people in. I know I keep saying that, but I'm trying to get to 100. All right. Anyways, without further ado, we need to introduce our guests and get the party started. Am I right? Jared, you're the only one I'm talking to on the
You're right. No, I didn't know if you wanted the people to put their hands in the air or something. I don't know.
Put your hands in the air, people.
Get some energy going. You know what I mean?
I'm like, hello, Jared, are you listening? That happens even when it's just us too. So that's hilarious. But anyways, I would love to welcome Denise to the podcast. Hi, Denise.
Hi, guys. This is so exciting. Thanks for having me. Good. How are you guys?
Doing well. This is a first time experience, so we'll see how it goes.
Jared, I did not know that you did not know a lot about MLM, so I'm excited.
I do use the product. Asia sold it to me, and I've been sold on it since. So I'm very excited to learn more about it.
I'm excited for you.
I'm so excited. I'm shaking or something. This is why I have wine. Okay, Denise, please tell us a little bit more about you. Seriously, give us the rundown, your bio. How did you get to where you are? All the things. I mean, yeah, just
hold on. Sorry to cut you off, but we're going to start with a drink or a toast.
Oh, yeah. So, Jared did want to start with a toast.
I wanted to start with that. So For the people watching, if you don't have anything right now, by the end of it, we'll take another one. So make sure you have it by the end of it.
There is someone who's cheersing with a bottle.
Hey, I love it.
I can't see who it is, but I'm pretty sure it's Nicolette.
That's when you know someone.
But cheers to you all.
Cheers. Awesome. Okay, Denise, tell us about yourself. Give us the bio.
So, I mean, I know some of you guys know, right? I'm from Turkey. I moved to the States when I was 12. And before I leaped into this crazy industry, this entrepreneurship, I was pursuing my career as a senior art director in New York City at an advertising agency. And it was the dream. Keyword was, I always wanted to work for an agency in the city. And that was, honestly, that's all I wanted to do after I went to school for it. And when this fell on my lap, it was super unexpected. I think most of us, right? That's why it's so super relatable. None of us really were educated on MLM. And kind of just was like thrown off a little bit. I obviously kind of said no a couple times. And then I just kind of saw like what kind of differences it was making in one of my best friends' lives. So it just is something that I kind of took a leap with. And that was actually 3 years ago, like a week ago. So it's crazy to say that, like, I mean, I can't believe it's been 3 years since, I took this on. But yeah, this is how I became a little entrepreneur. Big entrepreneur, not little.
Right? Why do you keep saying little?
I don't know. I keep doing that with everything. But yeah, no, it's crazy.
That's lit. And how long did you because I know a lot of people who do network marketing, it's like our side hustle, right? So like how long did you do both for before you transitioned to full time?
So when I first started, let's just say this, I was told from my best friend, you can probably quit your job and do this full time. And I said, I would never do that for this. That's embarrassing. And then I realized I was honestly just being completely like, my head was here, like I wasn't really seeing the picture. And I was working this business for a year and I quit. I started in September. I put a 1 month in, like not like like mostly people do their last 2 weeks, but because I had so many responsibilities and I still wanted to keep the job for a month, I quit in October. So that was like my last month. And then I went on my first trip with the company in November. So it's so wild. It's so wild.
So I guess for the people who really don't know what it is, can you just give us a breakdown on exactly what multi-level marketing is? And I guess how do you even get into it?
Well, okay. So you get into it like somebody like telling you about it, like not the corporate isn't going to reach out to you, right? But multi-level marketing it's really smart attraction marketing that people like. So basically brands come out and say, we don't want to pay for advertising. We want to have people make more money by distributing the products themselves. So the way I look at MLMs is this. I'm not even going to give you guys a perfect definition. The way I look at it is this. You put in the work, you get paid for it, which is in a lot of industries, right? I don't want to shit on every corporate company, but most of them, you work your ass off and you don't really you don't get compensated for what you do. And
you're making somebody else rich.
Right, exactly. And I'm not even going to say like, like that's like like everyone has their own dreams. And for me, like that didn't really matter before, I loved what I did, but then I realized I didn't really know the difference. Like it's all about really kind of learning about the difference in the compensation plan. But that's what I see about MLMs. Like they don't use any advertising. They don't have any commercials. And I think being in the advertising industry prior, knowing how much money companies spent on campaigns, on brandings, on the things like even on social media marketing, the amount of money that they drop for just yearly is insane. Monat doesn't do that. They pay us and they spoil us. They send us to trips. Like that stuff like doesn't happen in corporate, which is which is so crazy. I'm sorry, like I totally just dropped my Nate's name, but in general, like for MLMs, like that's usually should be the case.
So again, for me looking on the outside of it, it kind of sounds like you guys are kind of like influencers. Is that the okay word to say, or?
Okay, so yes and no, right? So the most simple way to define the difference of the two is that you don't receive free products in exchange of posting it on your social media when you partner up with an MLM. You throw down your own money, you invest to buy the products. It's completely up to you what you do after with it. So they don't make a deal with you and say, like normally, like if people reach out to me about, for instance, like a brand influencing position, right? Like with somebody else, they want me to pick out the stuff, but like it's very limited stuff. And then, we want you to post about it. It has to be between these dates. Like there's just like these guidelines that I have to follow. And there's no freedom to do any of that, which is still great. You're getting free stuff. But MLM companies, they're not going to make a deal with that. That's totally up to you what you do with after. But however, we post about it because we like the product. So we share it with our audience. So it could easily be combined. You could say you are an influencer, you are influencing people. It's just, I think people have, this idea of like what an influencer is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. But I think but what I should say is this. I think in order for you to make a lot of money as an influencer, you have to have a lot of followers. In order for them to drop like, okay, we'll pay you $20,000, $10,000 for you to post this on your social media, you have to have a lot of followers. You don't need to have a lot of followers for working in MLM. You could make that kind of money starting out having no followers. It doesn't matter. I think that's like, I think that's the best way I would define the difference.
Yeah, that's super helpful. I feel like another misconception that I want to address, because I'm just addressing all the things today, is this idea that like what I hear all the time too is you have to put in like so much of your own money, or you have to, and every single MLM is different, right? So like we don't know what you have to do for startup for every single one of those. But I feel like what I hear a lot when I'm networking with people is, well, I don't want to have to spend this much of my own money. Or like, if we're going to give an example, Nate, only makes money off because market partners buys, like those types of things I feel like are a huge, huge, huge misunderstanding. So can you just elaborate a little bit more about like, honestly, the difference between putting your own money up towards, an opportunity like network marketing versus opening your own like actual startup business from scratch? Does that make sense?
No, it does. And the one thing I was going to say though, before I even compare the two, it's discipline. Don't spend your money if you don't have a lot of money to invest in this business. Spend the minimum that you need, work your business. Don't go buying everything if you don't have the money in any kind of MLM company, right? Because then don't complain if you're not working for it to make the money. Like that's what makes me mad. People join MLMs and then they blow their money for no reason. And then they get upset and talk shit about MLM companies. But what did they do? They didn't make you buy it. They just had a sale and you were excited and then you bought it all. That's not like, have discipline. Don't buy it all. Can I be honest? My first year, I remember experiencing our Black Friday sale, and they had like, I think 7 or 8 different crazy kits. I didn't buy all of them. And I remember people saying, you didn't buy all of them? I'm like, no, I'm not going to spend more money. I got the things I know I need and I want. I don't need all the 8 different things. I don't need all the hot tools. Like that's how I felt. Now I'm a little more crazy, but like, I feel like I can splurge because it's, to me, I can make that investment and not stress about it. Back then I felt like I needed to have discipline. Like this is when I need, that's when I quit my job. I didn't just blow my money on things. On top of it, I think the difference between starting your own business, I mean, let's be serious. If you want to start your own business, there's no way you're starting your own business spending $200, $199 to $799. That's what you spend for just with money. And I know every MLM company is different. And then on top of that, to start your own business, you're going to go through all these crazy paperwork. The process is like a long process. I'm not going to say it's years, but it's time consuming. And then you can't just be like, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to do it anymore. And then get all your money back and all your time back. You can with at least money, you can. You have, you can be like, yeah, well, let me try it out. And then if you don't feel like it anymore, you can say, you know what, I changed my mind, and you get your money back.
I was going to ask, I guess if you are in a MLM, do you think that if you don't like the products or the specific product, that you still will be able to work for that specific company?
No. Mm-mm. So, and I feel like you're asking the right person without even knowing me. I am the opposite of like the beauty is not my thing. And I think some people on this call can relate. And there's a lot of people who are familiar with beauty and interested. So for instance, like, Monade, if we're talking about one brand, they were beauty. When I first started, it was just hair. I was like, I don't really care about hair. I accepted it. I was like, my hair's not growing anymore. It's curly, frizzy, whatever, like, I'm like, I'm happy the way I am. And I didn't think like, I was like, for me, I was like, I don't need a blow dry cream to protect from the heat and a like styling cream. Like, I didn't want any of that. I was like, this is so many steps I don't need in my life, is how I went into this. So I tried to be open about it, but it was hard for me, but I liked the products. I was like, oh shit, like my hair is growing so fast. And I tried like horse shampoo to make my hair grow.
Me too. First of all,
I've never even heard of that before.
You've never heard of mane and tail, Jared? Because
I don't think so.
Mane and tail, what I tell you, there used to be, not anymore, but there used to be so many bottles of mane and tail underneath my fucking bathroom sink. And the problem too with it is like nobody would even use them. Like we would just keep buying them, use it a couple times. Then they're just collecting fucking crusty ass shampoo all around underneath my sink. Like so much mane and tail.
Like, Jared, let me tell you something. I've never told this many people this, but like my mom is like someone who likes, like home remedy stuff. Like if you can Google this is like a thing. She straight up cracked an egg on my head and like mixed it with yogurt and was like, chill with it and then we'll wash it. This is like when I was in college because my hair was just like destroyed because I tried so many times doing like Japanese straightening and like just trying to make sure that it can be tamed. And I destroyed my hair. If I showed you my hair from when I was in high school, you'd be like, wow, like that's a lot of hair gone. So I tried it all. So when this came along, I was like, okay, like it's going to make my hair grow? No way. So I don't think personally, if you can sell a product without liking it, props to you. But I think I can't.
You have to believe in it.
Yeah, I can only talk about things that I feel excited about. Like I like movies. I like talking about like what movie I just watched. Like I haven't seen like a really good movie in a long time. Like when can someone needs to come out with a really good movie right now.
And I feel like it's kind of more genuine and real too. Like if you actually like the product and if you're actually doing it, then you're able to share your experiences with the next person.
Exactly.
But it's funny though, when I first heard of it, Asia obviously is the one who told me about it. I thought it was a skincare product. I didn't know they started off with shampoo, and then I found that out after the fact.
When they came out with skincare, I was like, please don't be skincare, because I knew nothing about skincare, and it was the one thing I didn't feel like adding into my routine. And then this year, they came out with wellness. I was like, please don't be like anything wellness, and it was wellness. And I always become obsessed with it. So they're almost like, I keep talking about this like the last week, but they make me healthier. Like they make me a better adult. Like I'm done with adulting, but I'm at least, doing it.
I like
the plug. Yeah, I like the plug.
That's hilarious. But no, I agree because I feel like, I mean, it's so funny because we literally, when we started this podcast and we're like, we're done with adulting, like, fuck this, fuck our job, da da da. And for me personally, like my personal experience so far has been like, okay, like I'm a little bit like, not even a little bit better at adulting, but I have a little bit more confidence in my ability to adult because I am doing things in my personal business that I never thought I could do, right? So now I'm lit. I'm like, oh, I just did that shit. I'm about to do a live podcast. Like, I'm lit. Like, that's really like, I feel like for me, the residual effects of it because yes, like you can make good money if you put in the work, but like for me, it's the personal development that I've received out of it that has been like a game changer for me. And that has stretched across like all areas of my life. Like my full-time job that drives me fucking insane, the pod, like all that stuff has changed and shifted in some way because of my experience so far with network marketing. And I want to clarify that it's not even about like, I can't even pinpoint, what specifically that is besides just having the opportunity to push myself outside of the limits that I had originally set, if that makes sense. And then once you see that you can do that, then being like, well, I did that over here, so now I'm gonna do it over there.
Kind of motivates you a little bit. And then
Yeah,
also
definitely.
to your point, you also are able to build it seems like you're able to build certain relationships with people. Like me knowing you, I know that you've made, I guess, close friendships with some of the people in this calls
Mhm.
and things like that. And I guess without that networking, you wouldn't be able to. So there's also a different aspect on it.
You know what's crazy? Like, the one thing that I didn't want is a community. I was like, I can't keep
Same.
up. I was like, I can't keep up with my
Literally
5
same.
friends. I was like, I don't need to meet any more girls. Like, no, thank you.
I say that every day.
But no, seriously. And listen, like, I admire people when they're like, I wanted the community. I'm like, good for you. Like, I didn't want people in my life. I was like too busy, whatever. And, like, that's what I came into it. And then I know I'm money driven, but I didn't see the money to be driven. It was the people that I liked that made me want to be a part of it. Like, I was like, wow, I'm actually obsessed with everyone I'm talking to. I'm obsessed with everybody that wants to go somewhere with me. Like, I'm obsessed with like everybody that I'm working with. Like, that made me want to talk to them every day, do calls. Like, that's how it all started, like you don't even know what you're doing when you're getting started, but it was the people that makes you stay. So technically, like when you start out in network marketing, you have to realize if you're starting out a business, you can't look for an outcome, right? Like you can't be like, oh, my bank account doesn't have $20,000. This is a scam. You can't say that. You know that you have to believe that it's the real thing. But what makes you stay is really the people. Like that is really what makes you stay, I think.
Right before you hopped on, I was like, Asia, this kind of feels like a sorority.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a big sorority. It's like the biggest sorority. We like just welcome everyone. We're like, pledge season. Like it's just great. Yeah, except we're all nice. Like no one is like, like, oh, she's wearing the same skirt as me. Like
no jealousy. Yeah, no jealousy.
Not that it's a bad thing to be in a sorority. I just think that we're all like we're adults,
Well, and I feel like too the most annoying effing thing I've ever
I like that you say we're cursing, but then you say effing.
I know. I switch it up sometimes because I'm going to tell you why. Because my mom listens to these and she's like, Jared doesn't curse, by the way. For everybody who doesn't know Jared, he doesn't curse. Like as long as I've known this man, he doesn't curse. And I admire that about Jared. But when my mom listens to this podcast, she's like, you sound like a sailor. Jared doesn't curse. Why do you have to curse?
It's balance. We need you cursing.
I'm like, Jared tells me to curse because he wants it to be explicit, but he doesn't want to curse himself. Anyways, I say all that to say, I forgot what I was going to say because I just got upset about cursing. But no, I remember. I was going to say that I feel like when we were applying for jobs and like doing all that stuff and like just adulting, everybody always says like, oh, like networking is the number one thing you have to do to like get a job. And I remember hearing that and being like, oh my God, I want to vomit at the thought of having to network with strangers just to get a job. And I feel like with network marketing, like at the end of the day, no matter what you decide to do, whether it's start your own business with network marketing, start your own business from fucking scratch, work in corporate America, you have to network. And so like, even for me personally, getting into network marketing, I've gotten better at networking, which is now a skill that I've used again in other areas of my life.
Are you able to I guess, do this without social media?
You don't need, like, this is the thing that this is a misconception. I don't have any followers. Like, it actually, like, makes me annoyed because you don't need anything. You just need to have a goal in mind. Like, you have to, like, be desperate to, want to do something in your life. Like, that's all it takes. So if people did it 50 years ago without social media, You don't have to knock on people's doors. All you need is a freaking phone, and you call people, you talk to people, you catch up with people. Like, like that's, and then you have to like want to learn. And that's it. Social media is great because, for instance, like Lena's here, she storied a couple things today. Multiple people reached out and it's like, oh my God, I need to buy this product. And that's all it took. She just shared it. That's her advertising it, So I think like that people need to stop having that misconception. I think that you can do it with or without social media. I think it's a tool that adds. And I think if you're open to learning new ways to grow yourself and in this industry as is, you should be open to social media, but you don't need it.
Okay, but the real thing we want to know, Denise, is what do you have to do, true, honest, give us the real deal, to be that 1%, which you are, which is part of the reason why you're here, not just because you're my mentor, but because you have
the knowledge,
literally the knowledge, the experience. You are right now on this call the person that everybody, when they hear about network marketing, says, I can never get there, right? And so for our listeners and for the people listening to this on Monday who aren't live right now, like, tell everybody what you have to do to get there.
I would say my biggest advice is plug in right away, because when we first start out, it's so mind-blowing how different your mindset is when you start out. There's a lot of people that start out in this business where I'm shocked because they take off. And then there are a lot of people that start out like myself. You kind of have these limiting beliefs that you don't really realize that you do, and you don't really see the vision. So I think my biggest advice would be plug in right away, because as soon as I plugged into this business, which was 7 months after I signed on, I'm not saying I laid around and did nothing. Like, I did more than some people do. Okay. But like, I felt like, compared to what I did as soon as I was 100% plugged in, obviously, like it's nothing in comparison. So I think when you do that, you take off. Like, you don't even realize. If you take every day as a learning lesson, and if you're open, take every day as a learning lesson, look into this as like, it seems so far, but it's going to be so close. Like, it just happens so quickly. It's like going to college. You have 4 years. You're like, oh, I'm never going to be a senior. And then suddenly you're like, oh, fuck, I'm graduating. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to, like, I now have to have a job. Like, it really just flies by. So with this, you have 10 ranks with this company. Like, there's so many different companies, but like with Mine 8, you have 10 promotions. It flies by. But if you choose to not miss out on like fun things, and you'd rather like, miss out on leveling up in your business, that's your choice. So my thing is, if you really want to go far with this, ignore everything else, plug in, and just, like how Mark Zuckerberg, like when you watch The Social Network and they're just like plugged in, and like they just get pissed off at anybody, that they have like races on who's plugged in the most. Like, that's how I feel like I was. Like, anytime someone was like, hey, like, want to do this? I was like, no, say I can't, sorry. Like, I'm like DMing people. It just didn't matter to me, because I knew that if I kept going, I was going to have that freedom to be like, hey, want to like go away? Or like, hey, want to hang out whenever the hell I want? I wanted that. And some, you know what? Like, I feel like a lot of my friends in New York too had this lifestyle that I never had. Like, I'm like, wow, they can just like do whatever they want. Like, they have like 3-hour lunches. I'm like, what's a lunch? Like, I would love to know what that is. And in order for me to have that lifestyle, I knew that I had to give up a year. I knew that I had to miss out on some things that I knew that I wouldn't really miss out on, So I think that's my biggest advice, is when you start out with something like this, like, stop blaming the business, stop blaming like the people that my upline sucks or this. Maybe there are circumstances, but if you really want something, no one can get in your way of getting it if you really want it. So that's my biggest advice.
Do you think that like during your journey, did you lose any friends because of this?
Good question, Jared.
And if not even like just like personal friends, but like maybe like followers, and I don't know, with social media, so it really doesn't matter that much. But
so at one point I downloaded that stupid app that tells you who unfollowed you, and I was getting so offended. I was like, really? I wanted to unfollow you 2 years ago.
That's like the natural reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, like I'm offended. What did I post that you didn't like? Like, I hate your cat. But then
Stop. No.
I hate cats too.
I'm like, your stupid cat is all you post about. Like, what does that do for me? Nothing. At least I'm talking about something and powerful, like on my story or posting about it.
I fucking hate cats too.
Not that I even like, I love, my mom's cat just died.
I'm sorry. No shade to cat lovers, but they don't really fuck with me, and I don't.
I just meant in general, like, what did I do to you? And then no, I didn't lose anybody. I think in the beginning, the thing starts with you. If you're kind of doubting it, they sense that. But if you don't give a fuck, you literally have nothing. Like, all of my friends support this. They're like, you've just become such an adult, Denise. Like, da 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 da. Like, that's how they talk to me because they see what it's done for me. They just in the beginning, people might be concerned and they might voice their opinion in their own ways. But I think if they're really truly your friends, they're gonna be around and they'll end up buying the products. Like Jared, he didn't know anything about MLMs, but he's like, okay, Asia, like I'll use the product.
Jared was like my second or third VIP. So shout out to you, J Reid.
I didn't even know what a VIP was. She was like, VIP, you get a discount. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I was like, Jared, I know you love the VIP section of the club, so let me just kidding.
You don't have to let them know that.
I see those like sponsored ads and it's like, oh, in network marketing, you don't want to lose your friends. Try attraction marketing. Like, I'm like, you know what? We do that. Like, we already do that. We don't need to believe that we're like losing friends and family over this, because if the people if they're not supporting you in the beginning, if you don't believe in this, you ain't going anywhere anyways, But like, if you totally like stick this out, they're going to be around. Like, there's no way they're going to want to miss out on this, and they're going to want to support you no matter what. I don't think, and to be honest, I feel like, what's the guy's name? Amazon's, oh my God, I'm blanking.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, I can't believe I just don't know how I like that. But he talks about this too. He's like, when he had these crazy ideas and he came out, and that's totally like, it's direct sales is Amazon, Etsy. This is all direct sales if you think about it. When he came out with these ideas, people were so just not a fan, like it was too different and they weren't supportive. But what was he supposed to do? Oh, my friends are just not supporting me, like he just was like, well, I have an idea, I have a vision, and you stick it out. So I think no matter what, if they're your true friends, they stick it out with you.
If they're real ones.
Right. And if they aren't, you don't care anyway. So I think it's a myth.
I mean, I'm just from looking from the outside, I see Asia post like nonstop. I'm like, Jesus, more post. So I'm looking at like
is that how you feel, Jared? Jesus, more posts?
No, because I look at all of them. Thank you very much. And I kind of laugh. Sometimes I laugh at them if it's funny, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to buy this actually.
Yes.
Let me hit her up. I need to restock. But like for the people who are reserved, and I guess who aren't as, I guess, not happy, but as confident in front of the camera, or I guess trying to network with other individuals, is there any advice that you can give them? Do they just need to get out of their comfort zone?
My mouth used to get so dry to the point, like what happened to our girl Nicolette with the bottle. Like, my mouth wouldn't open when I tried speaking in front of people. And pitching in front of clients was like my job, like I had to come up with an idea and pitch. And I couldn't speak before Money. And shout out to this team for, I feel like anyone who's been with me too, like since 2018, like I feel like the way I speak has developed so much, the way I present, the way my trainings are, the way I am so inspired to learn so that I can provide like a badass training for them. And they're like, oh, wow, I learned something. I want them to come to a class and like leave being like, wow, I just learned something new. And 3 years ago, I was like, oh my God, like, no, can someone else do this? Like, I hated it. And
that's dope.
Like, but Jared, like, this is when you like really see personal growth. When corporate asked me to speak on stage in Vegas, and that's 5,000 people in April. And it was unfortunately canceled. But to me, at first, I was like, yeah, sure. And then I was like, oh my God, that's 5,000 people. I was like, my mouth is definitely going to get dry, but I can definitely like have a bottle of water next to me and do this. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I would never even have the balls to say yes to something like that. Like, so it just, it's a growth like that you don't even see coming, you know, just as long as you stick it out.
That's dope.
Anyone who's not confident, my advice would be, if you want to be confident, you got to stick it out, and you have to do it. Like, you can't learn how to ride a bike by watching it, you know, like you have to get on the bike and start pedaling. You can't be like, oh, that's a nice ride. Like, you can't do that. So,
And it's really not even like, to me, a confidence thing. Like I saw somebody in the chat, they put introverts do this too. And I'm like, that's dope, because you get out of your comfort zone. And I think that's when the most growth occurs, is when you challenge yourself and you get out the comfort zone. So that's dope.
I feel like one of the things we were going to ask you that we've already started talking about is, as it relates to just like personal growth and building your network, are there any other like non-monetary benefits that you feel, or like things that you feel network marketing brings to the table that perhaps corporate America doesn't? Besides obviously being able to make your money on your own time.
I would say for me, it helped me a lot with communicating with people, understanding people. It helped me also learn a little bit like more about business, because I was so on the creative side of things that I never really thought about like the business aspect of things. I think also network marketing, I know this sounds cheesy, and I'm not a cheesy person, but like when people talk about how it gives you possibilities, I think what they really genuinely mean is like, you start this, you stick it out, you become successful, then you actually can do the things that you were like closing your eyes and dreaming about when you're 15. You know, you're like, oh, it'd be so cool if I did that. Like, that would be the dream. You can actually do that because you have $1 million in your savings account. You know, like those are the things that you have to like, it sounds ridiculous, right? You're like, what? But that's it. That's it. Like, it's stupid. Like, I don't even understand how it's not what everyone else is doing. Like, I don't know how anyone even has like their job still. I'm like, I don't know why they haven't quit and done this.
I say that to you, Jared, too, sometimes. Like when Jared and I are having meetings about podcasts or like whatever, and he'll like ask me how the business is going or like how I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm just trying to make this money so I can fucking invest in this damn podcast so I can just be a damn podcaster. Like,
So back to what you were saying, you said that you got invited to an event in April, and obviously it got canceled because of COVID. How do you think that's affected business?
COVID hurt a lot of businesses. COVID impacted our business. Like our business was already growing, and it just went like tripled. Like it didn't. And I think it's all because of this, because people had more time to listen about the business. People had more time to take on another opportunity. People lost their jobs. So there's so many reasons, you know, like they lost their jobs. So they wanted to be able to make more money. And it was insane. Like April was insane, and it's only going to grow more. And I think it also, COVID made people realize anything. I mean, people should know this, but because some people lack in common sense, they don't understand that, you know, oh, anything can happen and I can lose my job. Yeah. Facts. So I think that's what COVID did for the business. I feel like it gave us the platform to be able to really have people listen and like understand what we do.
Yeah. And do you think, so two questions that I'm just have in my head right now is gender, right? Like we see a lot of women in network marketing more than we see in men, at least in our specific business, although the men side is growing. But do you think that network marketing for some reason sort of just like isn't or scares men away? Question mark. I don't know if I'm asking that right, but like,
why do you think it attracts men or more women?
I think there's men that kill it. I think that men are. I'm not going to say intimidated. I don't know the right word. Intimidated is not the right word at all. I think that there's a lot of women already in Money, like in this brand. I'm just comparing if we're talking about in general in MLMs, but like I think people just, you know, see how many females are in this industry. So it's hard to think it's also for males. Like I think a lot of times with some of my guy friends, like some of them waste my time. I'm like, are you going to sign up or are you just asking me questions? Because I don't feel like answering you. Google it. But I think that, like, you know, people are curious if it would work for them, but they doubt that it would because they see so many females do it. If men were smarter, Jared, I would be on this like no other, because you have zero competition. Like I mean, it's not even a competition, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the industry for men is stupid. And I know there's things coming and it's going to constantly grow. And if you're in it before, it would only help you be successful with it.
And I think men are ignorant to the fact of like skincare routines.
I want more men like in this. I want freaking men coming in this. And that's like, I want that. I want my homies to like come into this and be like, let's go.
Not the homies.
But I do think some men are ignorant to the fact of like skincare routines. I feel like a lot of guys don't get into it until they're older, which is me myself.
Your skin looks great today, by the way, Jared. I don't think I told you that yet.
Oh, thank you. It's the Monat. Is it Monat or how do you pronounce it?
Think of it this way: modern,
Oh yeah, modern nature, right?
I said that to you literally yesterday, Jared, and you were like, "Oh."
You told me everybody pronounces it different, so I'm sorry.
Everybody does pronounce it different. It's frustrating.
I just say Monat. I don't know. Hey.
It's okay.
I do remember asking you if there were any men that sold, and I remember you sharing some profiles with me, and I was like, "Oh wow, there are actually men in here," and you were like, "Yeah, they're VIPs," and then they turned to, I don't know what the term is, yeah, market partner, and it was definitely interesting to see. But I definitely could see men jumping on board late and not being better than the women at all. They'll probably be worse at this, in my opinion.
Why? Because you don't listen? That's why I think.
I mean, a lot of men are trash, so yeah.
Say it again for the people in the back.
A lot of guys. So,
Denise, what do you think is the biggest challenge, or the most challenging thing? Like, if we're just airing it all out.
Okay, before I answer that, who's on the call right now listening and wants to just drop it in the chat really quick what you think is the most challenging thing? I just want to see what you guys think.
Yeah.
Most challenging thing, right, in this kind of business?
Consistency.
You're good at this. I feel like you've been on podcasts before.
No,
she just runs training calls for 500 plus people. Consistency, self-doubt, fear.
But see, this all comes down to one thing. That's why I was curious what faith. Interesting.
Mindset. Denise needs her own podcast.
Nah, I'm okay. I feel like I have my hands in so many cookie jars. It's just I need to put down one. Back. I need to put down a cookie.
Do you agree with these? Consistency, self-doubt?
Here's what it comes down to. If you're not consistent, if you're having self-doubt, if you're having problems pitching things to people, if you're having all of these things, if you feel like these are your like challenges, what the hell is your why? Right? Your why, it ain't strong enough if you're not consistent. I was never, not once, inconsistent in my business since like the 7 months in when I plugged in 100%. I swear to you guys, I was never inconsistent. Even when I was traveling through Asia and I had no service and I was like trying to get letter E on my like data, like just to like respond back in a chat. Yeah. Even when I was having panic attacks and dying all over overseas, I genuinely was never inconsistent. I would sit in a hotel room for 3 days and not go see Vietnam because I had to prepare training. So to me, that tells me because I have people I need to show up for, not even just for myself. So it's deeper than your why. So I think if you're not consistent, we're lacking in a little bit of belief. And I'm not saying anyone on this call is lacking in belief, but I just think you need to think a little bit more about, about where you want to go with this and where you can take it. And I saw like patience in there too, by Grace. And I would say, I think one of the biggest gains I've had from this was patience, because you're working with so many different personalities. And some people come into this, they're like, I am going to be your next $1 million earner. And I'm like, wow, so much confidence. And then they don't do anything. They don't even answer you for like weeks. I'm like, wait, what? So a lot of people talk about what they want, but they never show it in action. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges for me. And then I feel like you gain a lot of patience too. And you realize it's almost like dating men, Jared. It's really like dating men, you know? You like somebody and you're just kind of like, I just don't want to get excited yet. So I'm just going to take this and see where it goes. Yeah, I just want to see where it goes. And then maybe like if we like want to put a ring on it, then I'll get excited. But yeah, no, I feel like that's probably one of the biggest challenges is in the beginning when you're starting like out, you want to get frustrated and complain like, oh, well, this person joined and did nothing. Shut up and keep working and find other people that want it, you know? Just stop and just keep going. I think that's what I would say is a big challenge in the beginning, but I forgot the question.
Yeah,
did I answer
you did.
So in your opinion, where do you see not just this company, but the whole industry as a whole going?
Ooh,
Speak more on the industry if you can versus the company per se.
Right. No, I personally think I can't believe how different network marketing is from 5, 10, 20 years ago. You know, like we were talking about earlier, like when you look at any businesses, every successful brand is evolving. And I think direct sales in general is already taking over the industry itself. So personally, I think network marketing is only growing. I think we made network marketing cool. And I'm just like saying ours, like, you know, our team. But I do think that people can make it what they want it to be. I think if you think of it as like what it was 50 years ago, then yeah, like that's lame. But if you think of it now, I do think also the brand that you're with, whether it's Monade or anybody else, like you said, like network marketing, I think like the one thing you just want to make sure is that it's a good brand that's trying to be different. You know, like there's a lot of brands that have requirements. They want you to do things monthly. They want you to buy stuff, or they want you to like pay. I'm just saying, like there's so many still like old school ways, and like their compensation plan shit when it shouldn't be. Like it's good compared to corporate, but so stuff like that really matters. But I think that industry wise, they're totally. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if they've grown this much in the last 5, 10 years, can you imagine like where they're going to be in 15, 20 years in this industry in general? I think a lot of people would probably prefer to go into network marketing instead of spending millions in advertising and letting people get more compensated for what they do.
And we're already so connected as like not economy, but as a society. And I just think that in the future, we're just going to be even more connected, which would help this industry and business.
I think too, the one thing that we haven't mentioned is that it's the industry itself is such a good equalizer. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to be a certain person. You don't have to, you know, whatever. You don't have to worry about the fucking wage gap. Don't get me started. But like, it's an equalizer. Like anybody can do it if you want to do it. Like that's literally all it comes down to, whether or not this is something you want.
Preach.
I sure will. No, we're coming up on 8:00 and I want to, you know, be respectful of time and wrap this up. But Denise, this was amazing. We are so appreciative that you came on today. The chat, by the way, has been super lit. Shout out to everybody who's on here live. If you're listening to this on Monday because you missed the live, we missed you. Just know it was lit in here for the next one.
Guys, I just want to say this. Asia never does these live, and like this business, you know how it challenges you to push yourself and out of your comfort zone. And I was like, hey, let's do this live. Let's do this like no script, nothing. And I think it'd be really cool to see like what you do on this podcast. And I feel like let's give it up to her and Jared for doing this live and not saying no and making me record it privately.
No, let's give it up for Asia.
No.
Yeah, Jared's like, oh, whatever.
Asia gets the praise.
Honestly, you guys, seriously, Denise, thank you so much for coming on today. Before we hop off, I cannot just like based off who I am, who we are as Done with Adulting podcast, we can't sign off without talking about the injustice that is Breonna Taylor's murderers not being indicted. I can't even talk about it too much because I swear to God I will cry. But I really just wanted to come on here and just tell you guys that the work is not done. Listeners and allies of Done with Adulting podcast, if you're listening to this on Monday, there's work to be fucking done. We need to just keep saying Breonna's name, keep fighting for her. Literally, I can't say anything else about it. Fucking vote. If you're not registered to vote, please register your ass to vote. And I think we're gonna wrap up. So if you liked this
hold on. We got.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jared.
We got another drink for everybody before we end. Yeah.
I'm out of wine.
You gotta pour up.
All right, I'm a loser.
Or you're not because you finished it all because you're
This
lit.
cup was literally filled because I started drinking at 6:20 when I was trying to test sound.
I saw somebody say we should have drank every time Asia said lit, and I think that might be.
I should have said lit. I said curses, but she said lit more. So I was like, damn, I didn't know that.
Cheers to everybody who came on tonight.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you all for watching.
Honestly, you guys are so nice. Everyone that came on, though, think about it. That was
that's
so
dope. Yeah.
important, that's awesome.
It goes a long way.
But it's funny, when we first started this, we were like, we'll be happy with 10, 20 listeners, and it's just grown and grown and grown. So we appreciate you all.
We appreciate that. You guys, wherever you listen to podcasts, go ahead and subscribe to Done with Adulting. Give us a rating, give us a review, follow us. Oh shit, that's your part.
You're messing up. Jared. This is a live podcast. You gotta be perfect. Come on.
Go ahead, Jared.
But follow us on Insta, Done with Adulting Pod. Share our stories, share our post. Hit us up in the comments. We're also on Twitter, Done WTH Adulting. Just interact with us. We appreciate it.
Jared, if you did Monet, you could grow your network and your podcast.
I know.
Denise trying to close the deal on air. Do you see that, people?
I'm gonna talk to Asia after this.
Yeah.
You might have sold me.
There you go.